Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
There you are.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
How you
Never
doing?
used this site before. Good. Never used this. So I don't know where the heck I'm doing here.
Hey, I'm in the same boat. I always have troubles with it. Ethan there, he's the one who uses it all the time.
I'm still
You
learning
kids and your
too.
technology.
I don't know.
Witchcraft.
Technology these days, man. Oh man, dude, we are totally excited to get into some questions that we got for you today, and thank you for coming on to the show. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We do a lot of the kind of like cryptid horror stories and stuff, and yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
Well, so I know you and I have met a few different times,
Yeah.
conventions, and then the second one there.
Yep. Yeah, you guys you travel. You travel for your love of horror.
We do try to get around, go to as many conventions as we can.
It's awesome.
And your co-host here is Ethan. It's my nephew.
Hello.
Nephew.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
He's a young uncle, I tell you.
I guess so. Yeah.
Either that or you look old.
Ah, shit.
Well, it's a mix. It's a mix. Yeah. Cool. Nice family bonding show. Look at that.
Yes.
Definitely.
Lots of bonding.
Yeah, we definitely get into it. We have a lot of fun. Oh man, it's been about 2 years now since we started doing this. That's crazy. So, I'm sorry, I'm a little.
All right. Well, Mike, would you like to introduce yourself for those watching that don't know you?
Sure. I'm Mike Aloisi. Most people know me by Author Mike. I'm a writer. Most known for writing Kane Hodder's official biography and working with Tom Savini on his. But I've also written 10 other books besides those. A lot of fiction. I write a lot of horror under Michael Gore, which is my pen name, and the Tales for Mortician book series. I write lots of books and do a lot of creepy horror things, and it's me. That was a short summary there.
I actually have a couple of your books here on our table.
I like your display. There you go.
Yeah, Tales of Mortician, one of my favorites. I love the short stories.
Thank you. Yeah, those are. It's funny because I do tons of different writing, a lot of biographies and stuff. But those are always the thing I want to write is the short stories. I'm always find myself going to a horror short story, and like I'll have a deadline in another book, and then I'm writing, and then my wife would be like, "Oh, did you get writing done?" I'm like, "Yeah, I wrote a short story." She's like, "You're supposed to be working on the biography," and I go, "I know, but I needed to get a short story done," And so I kind of work on those, and so I actually have Tales from Mortician and Skeletons in the Attic. But I actually have 2 more collections in that series that are done that'll come out. Probably one at the end of this year, and then one next year because I have to space them out. And then I'm already working on the 5th one already because I like writing.
Oh wow, that's really impressive. That is really cool.
Yeah. I loved all the short stories. I've read actually both of those ones, the Tales from the Mortician and the Attic.
There you go.
My favorite book that I've read of yours so far has been Mr. Bookstick.
Oh, well, look at you reading the non-horror one. Thank you.
Yes, I loved it. It actually kept my attention beginning to end. Like I had a hard time putting it down.
Thank you. That was one of my first things. That was my second book I ever wrote. Was that one? And it's funny because I started off doing just novels, and then I got sidetracked with the biographies and the short stories, and I haven't got back to the novels yet. I have 5 novels that are done. I just haven't ever gone back to finish and clean them up and get them out. But hopefully my goal is over the next couple of years to start getting those done, because I was doing tons of stuff, and then tragedy hit. I had twins.
Oh.
So yeah, so it was, it was like, I was like a rocket ship of writing, and then it just went dead stop. So finally, now that they're older, I'm finally getting back on the track and getting all those out and stuff and doing that. But yeah, Mr. Bluestick was one of the second novel I wrote and one of my favorites and stuff. So I'm hoping to actually turn it into a film one day, because it's actually about obviously you read it, but it's about a little girl who has an imaginary friend in her backyard, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's cute, you have an imaginary friend." But then when she disappears, they realize that it wasn't an imaginary friend. So I want to turn it into a movie, and I actually want Kane to play Mr. Bluestick.
Yes.
So, yeah. So because the funny thing
wow.
is, Mr. Bluestick has burns on his hands, and I wrote it before I even thought of Kane or anything, and then afterwards I was like, wait a second, that character has burns all over him and stuff, and I'm like, that's kind of perfect for Kane. Look at that.
That's exactly what I thought when I was reading it.
Really? Cool.
Yeah. I was like, Kane would be perfect for that.
Yeah. So maybe one day.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. Either a movie or like a mini series.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
So I had to ask you, what are like some of your muses for like for your writing, and how do they affect your books, like in everyday life or other?
So for me, 'cause one of the most common things that people ask writers is, where do you get your story ideas? And for me, it's my brain is just constantly super overactive imagination, to where I'm the kind of person who like constantly watches everybody when I'm somewhere, and I'm always like, what is that person doing? Why do they have that bag? What is this? What is that? It's more of like a paranoia thing. But then I end up writing stories about it, because the things that happen in real life are never as cool as I want them to be. You know, like I'll see someone with a bag, like dragging a bag, and I'm like, oh, there's a dead body in there. And then it's, it's really just, it's laundry. And I'm like, well, that wasn't cool. I'll write a story about it. So my brain is constantly doing things like that. So muse-wise, I don't really have like a muse per se. It's just always stories in my head that I always have to get out, and then once they're out, I'm happy, kind of thing. So I kind of just always have tons of stuff. Like I have a folder of story ideas, and I actually have 280 ideas for novels.
Wow.
And I think like 300 short story ideas, all written in these folders. I'm sure 90% of them I'll never write, and half of them are probably crap, but that's how often my brain's like, oh, idea, and write down these kind of stories and ideas and all that and stuff. And so yeah, it's kind of they kind of come from everywhere.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah,
man.
So what inspired you to become a writer?
So when I was growing up, I didn't know what I wanted to be, and I had a class in high school. It was like a career development class, and they, part of it was like, what do you want to be when you get older? What do you have to do? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, well, what do you like? And I'm like, movies. And she goes, so why don't you go to film school? And at that point, I was like, what are you talking about? You can go to school for film? Back in the 90s, that wasn't really something that people talked about, was film schools. We didn't have the internet, really.
Yeah.
And so I was like, And so I looked into it. And so I went to film school. I ended up loving film school, but I found quickly that the technical aspect, as much as I love film, it wasn't my forte, and that I ended up helping everybody with their writing, their stories, and stuff like that. I actually went to school with Ty West, the film director, the horror director.
Oh wow!
Like we actually were in the same class together. But, so I found I was helping everyone with their stories, and that was kind of what I was best at. And so when I graduated, I had a film company for a while. We did a bunch of cool little things and stuff. And then I just realized that, I'm going to try to write a script. And so at first I was like, I'm going to be a screenwriter. And so I started to try to write a script. I got stuck halfway. And so I'm like, maybe I'll write it as a story. That way it'll help me flesh out the script, and I'll finish the script. And so I read all these books on writing and stuff like that. And I sat down, I started writing a story. And then I never went back to film after that, because I realized, whoa, this is what I really like. I started writing books, and I went back and I got my I got a master's degree in writing, and just stuck with writing ever since for that. So it was something that I never thought of, I never expected, I never looked into writing, and it was never something that I was like, I'm going to be a writer when I get older. It was something that kind of just, I think it was always there, but I never realized, that it was something I would ever want to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really. Oh man, that's like a an inspiration to a lot of people that like to write, even if it's just like I knew a lot of people back in like high school that liked poetry, and that their English teachers also loved the fact that when it was like essay time, or like I remember back in like 6th grade they talked about what was it, like details and stories, and it's just really cool to find, you know, like a passion in writing. I think it's just awesome. Like,
well, yeah, it's funny because when I was in high school, man, I was not awful, but I remember having like a 47 in English, you know, like my freshman year, and like you had to like tape my eyes open to read a book, you know, and now it's like, you know, I constantly read books, I'm listening to audiobooks and reading books, and you know, like my whole life is books, but back then it just wasn't there yet for me, you know, and a lot of it, and I'll get yelled at by my English teacher friends. A lot of it is because I disagree with how they teach English in schools. Because in my opinion, they teach books that are too heavy and old for kids. You know, like, you know, when you're 14 years old, reading like Catcher in the Rye and Old Man in the Sea, you know, you don't wake up and go, gosh, I can't wait to read that. You know, like, you know, if you read things you wanted to read in school, like if you let a kid read, you know, whatever is popular, you know, or whatever they want to read, that's going to actually get them to want to read. You know, I remember being like, when you're forced to read something you don't want to read, you're like, you know, so it was a hard thing. And then when it came to writing, I remember getting an argument with an English teacher because she was always that write what you know kind of thing. And I kept going, I'm like, so wait a minute, so Gene Roddenberry went to space and actually flew spaceships? And she's like, well, no. And I go, oh, okay. And I go, oh, so the guy who wrote Indiana Jones was an archaeologist who went back, and she's like, well, no, but you need to write what you know. Alexa's talking. Alexa, stop. I didn't call you. Tell me about Gene Roddenberry. That was funny. But so I remember arguing, being like, well, how can you write about things you know? I'm 15. You know, like, what am I going to write about? Just being like a 15-year-old, you know? And again, that's one of those things where I think schools still teach that, like, well, write what you know, and it's like, no, don't write what you know, don't, because then you're going to be writing boring things, you know. Like, I've never written anything I know. I know I get the idea of like there's a kernel there of like, well, write your emotions there that you understand, but even then it's like, you know, I've written, you know, a whole novel about a woman who loses her husband and then has a miscarriage after he dies, and you know, and is severely depressed. It's like, never experienced that, but I was able to write it, you know. So I think it wasn't fostered as a young age and stuff, and you know, so well, that was a long rambling answer there, but
no,
that's
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, oh, I was gonna ask next. I got for you. Like, out of all the writing that you've done as an author, public or not, was there a piece that you've written that has given you the chills or made you look behind your shoulder while writing it?
Yeah, I have such a dark mind that I don't get chills. I get excited. I'd be like, you know, I get like kind of like more like, woo. But I mean, there's a couple of things now that I've written, and when I look back, I go, oh, that was dark, or you know, like there's a story I wrote, and now that I have kids, I'm like, oh man, I definitely didn't write that before, or when I had kids, where like a little kid gets the head cut off, and it's in the mom's lap, and you know, it's pretty dark and gory and horrific. But I didn't have kids at the time, so I didn't realize how horrific it is. So there's things that gross me out that I've written. But like I'm the I'm this type of person who I can't watch boxing. I'll get physically ill if I watch like boxing or
Really?
MMA fighting. Anything real freaks me out. I'll watch every horror movie. I can write the grossest thing in the world, but anything real freaks me out. And so I think a lot of my fascination with it is that I'm so freaked out by it in real life that I kind of explore, you know, that fear in my writing, you know.
Use the weakness as a strength. I like that.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. It's kind of like exploring it in a safe setting, which is all,
Yeah.
which is what horror is, you know, exploring those fears in a safe setting, you know.
Dude, that's man. And you gotta, because I don't know if Uncle, do you watch? Have you ever watched like boxing or MMA matches or anything? Because they get really, like those are really messed up.
Yeah, I've actually been to a couple MMA fights.
Like the
It does bother me.
it's very cringy.
Kane made me sit ringside at one once, and I was just like this whole time, going, oh god. And then he's like slapping me. He's like, watch, and I'm like, no,
Watch.
Yeah.
What is it like going to conventions and getting recognized?
It's super weird because myself, I'm a massive horror fan, and I say a couple years ago, and time is going by really quick. Before I wrote Kane's biography, I went to my first horror convention. Me and my wife went, and I met a whole bunch of like C.J. Graham, Richard Brooker, Derek Mears, all these Jasons, because Jason was my favorite series growing up. And I met all of them, and I had my big Crystal Lake book in them signed. And I turned to my wife and I said, if I could just meet Kane Hodder, I could die happy. And so, I had that experience of being a fan and being in the middle of the room and just freaking out, walking over to all these tables. I met Robert Englund at it, and I've been able to be like shaking. And then all of a sudden, flash forward 12 years, and I went to Monster Mania a couple of weeks ago, and I check in. I was checking in at like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm walking through the lobby, and I actually got stopped twice by people who I've never met who recognized me and said, oh my god, I love your books. And I'm just like, oh, thank you. So it's just this weird surreal thing, because now I'm sitting at the tables, next to all these people who I was shaking to meet, a decade ago, and they all know my name. I've worked with half of them. I've had dinner with Robert Englund now. It's super surreal, and every once in a while I have to stop myself and be like, holy crap, look at the things I get to do. I'm especially when I get frustrated or something, and I'm like, oh, I'll never do this, or blah blah blah, and I go, wait a second, hold on. I'm like, I have done some really freaking cool things. I'm like, I've gotten to hang out in Tom Savini's house. I've gotten to,
oh wow,
do ridiculous. Tom Savini slept over my house. I'm like, it's just, bizarre things that I've gotten to do, from being a fan to sitting there, and it's just it's awesome and exciting and weird, and stuff. And to me, it's like, even if no one ever bought a single book again, I would continue to write. It's just part of me. It's what I do. So the fact that I get to actually have people read them and buy them and do stuff is, really kind of, a bonus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember when I met Kane the first time, I was same thing, super nervous, all excited and jittery.
Yep. Yeah. These are the people that we all looked up to,
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think, like back in the day, especially like going to some of the conventions that him and I have gone to together, and like how nice a lot of the people that you get to meet are. Like I was so nervous, and then they're just like so welcoming and just very, very kind, and no, it's awesome. That's why I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to, like if they ever want to go to a convention or anything like that, I think they should, 1,000%.
Well, yeah, I mean they're amazing. I mean they're super fun, and then you have to be with all like-minded people too, because everyone there is a horror fan, and so everyone gets along and has fun, and and it's a super cool thing to be sitting there and just be like, in the middle of a room of all these people that you grew up watching, and and then with fans that and stuff. I love them.
Will you maybe walk us through the process that you have writing one of your books? Like, is there a writing ritual that you do before diving into the writing?
No, I'm kind of a not. No, I won't answer it, but there's no ritual. I kind of just, so there's two different types of writing for me. There's, I don't want to call it work writing because I enjoy all my writing, but there's like a biography is work for me because I have to do extensive amount of research, take notes, talk to the subject, look things up, and then, if they tell me a story about something from a certain time, I have to go look up and be like, okay, what did this place look like then? What is this? And so sometimes for me to write pages of a biography, I have to literally, do 10 hours of research just to write one page. So that kind of writing it's hard, and it's a lot of work, but I still love it, and it's a cool thing to be able to be, making a phone call and be calling some celebrity, be like, oh, hey, when you did this, what about this? And especially with someone like, that I adored growing up, hearing their stories that no one else has heard, I get to tell that story to people, which is really cool. But when it comes to fiction, which is what I prefer to write, that is like my true pleasure in life. Like if I can do anything, I'm happier writing, writing myself a story rather than sit on a beach somewhere doing something. I'd rather just be writing a story. But when it comes to like process, it's literally whatever story's in my head, that's what I want to write, and I just sit down and I write. And I'm the kind of person to where I can write on a train, I can write, anywhere I am, I'll sit and write, and I'll just keep writing and stuff. And I don't need any stuff. In perfect conditions, if I'm home, I light my little candle and I play some music, and then I just sit and write. But otherwise I can write anywhere, it doesn't bother me. So no real routines or traditions, just finish it, just sit and write and get it out of my head.
I love it.
What kind of music?
Bingo.
What would you say, Uncle?
I was asking, what kind of music do you play?
So when I write, it's a trade secret though, so I don't want to share it to too many people. I only listen to movie scores for two reasons. One, if I listen to music with words, like I know Stephen King listens to like rock when he writes. If I listen to music with words, I find it distracting for myself because then I start singing the words and then I'll start typing them, because I'll be like, da, 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 and I'm like, oh shoot, what? So having no words in it, helps that way so I can concentrate. But movie scores are written with emotion in it. So, so it has that, slow creeping build up, and then it has the emotional power and then the sad stuff. And so when I write, it kind of gives me that little extra emotional, kind of boost. And so, so if I'm writing something creepy, I'll listen. I have like this long, playlist of different horror movie soundtracks I'll listen to. If I'm gonna write something a little more sappy, I'll write, I'll pop on something that's a little softer and sad and stuff. And, and it kind of just, helps me kind of visualize and picture my stuff.
Oh, wow. I can understand the, like with words, listening to music and stuff like that. I've listening to music and like singing along in my head. I've done that while just even texting, and I'm just sitting there and I start typing the words that I'm listening to, and I'm like, oh god, what did I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, to me it's distracting. Yeah, I mean I know a lot of other writers do it, but the funny thing is I can sit in a crowded room and ignore everyone and write. But the music, if I'm listening to it, I'm listening to the music, so that distracts me. So, yeah.
I can understand that. Is there a certain character from any of your books that you resonate yourself with? Maybe you feel like is more yourself?
The funny thing is that I have this, like, I have a couple of writer friends who they pull from reality so much, to where, I mean, like, if you know them good, you could pick out, oh, that character's this person, that character's that person, oh, that's your trait, that's this trait, that's trait. When I write, I don't do that at all. Everyone is just 100% made up and fake. I almost never take anything from anybody, and there's very little of me in my writing, because a lot of my people are very messed up and weird and stuff like that. I mean, actually, Mr. Bluestick, the dad, is kind of paranoid, a little nervous about the daughter, and I remember there's a line in there somewhere, which I don't remember lines ever, but he talks about when his daughter was born, the corners on cabinets became sharper, something like that, to where things become more, everything became more dangerous. So that's probably the closest to myself, is that kind of that anxiety and paranoia thing. But yeah, most of my stuff is very, very removed from myself. Like, I'm super goofy, super silly all the time. And then you read my stuff, and it's like, oh, he is messed up and disturbed, you know. And it's like the complete opposite of what I actually am, you know.
Oh man, that's actually really bad. Is there anything that you talk to your kids about, like when you're writing and stuff like that, like the experiences that you have, and like even gone through, like maybe some of the horrors with them?
With my children?
Yeah.
I mean, they're 8 years old, so it's funny for them because they know I write. Like they're huge readers, obviously, because they're growing up with a dad for a writer, so they read all the time. They know I write scary stuff. A lot of my stuff is scary, but I don't think they still grasp the concept of of what I do and all the kind of stuff. Because like Kane's over the house and they're helping him, sign things, and they're growing up like Tom Savini's in the kitchen doing magic tricks for him, and they have no clue who these people are. We tell them like, oh, that he's this, and they're like, oh yeah, cool. And so I think I'm hoping that when they get older one day, they're gonna be like, whoa, that's cool. And I hope when they get older too, like I have this weird like romantic thought in my head of when I'm long gone and dead, which is horrible to say, them having my body of work to read, to feel like they know me, kind of thing. Like, because like thinking of like of my father, he's still alive, obviously. Not obviously, you wouldn't know that, but my father's still alive, and like the idea though of having something that I could have of him, is I like that idea, and so I love the idea of having my kids be able to pick up one of Dad's books and read them, and kind of, especially my nonfiction stuff where it's about me or something. They could just have this whole kind of life of their dad still, and then my grandkids, and then someone else can read it and stuff. So it's kind of this weird thought in my head that makes me happy in a way.
Yeah, it's like you get to immortalize yourself for the rest of the time now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, kind of all like I've always had this kind of fear of not existing in a way. So it's kind of like leaving these books behind. I leave a little bit of me somewhere. Whether there's 10 copies or a lot. I get to leave something behind that someone can pick up and like, oh, that guy existed at one point. So yep.
Wanted to ask you about. So my wife and I, we first met you at Mad Monster Party in Arizona.
Yes. Yep.
Want to ask you what was it like when, or the thoughts going through your mind when Kane threw the machete at you?
That's just another day. That's another day with Kane. Oh my God, he's thrown. I mean, I remember. I think it's in the Killer Night. There's an episode. I was on the phone with my brother, and we're in Las Vegas. I don't know why we're pulled over somewhere, and there was just beer bottles everywhere. And I'm on the phone, and Kane just threw bottle after bottle of hard glass bottles in the air at me. And at that point, I was already so used to him doing crap like that. I'm just on the phone, just avoiding each glass bottle, going, yeah. And I mean, I've been at conventions where I'm like, hey, I need you to sign a couple machetes that we're going to give away later. And every one of them, he would sign it, throw it up in the air like a real machete, and I'd be like, trying to grab him. And he's done horrible things, so I'm used to him. At first, it was shocking and scary, but now I'm like, if he doesn't do something, I'm like, hey, you okay? What's going on? He didn't try to stab me today. There was one of my favorite stories is that because he always tries to scare me all the time. We were in Germany doing a convention, and we were on like I think the 5th floor or something of a hotel, maybe higher, and we had rooms next to each other. I'm in my room. I slept all night, sleeping naked in bed, and I have the door locked. I have my door open. I woke up and I'm like, I'm in Germany. This is nice. And I'm just laying there, kind of turning the TV on, and then all of a sudden, the curtain, which was slowly blowing, a giant thing jumps through my curtain, barking and growling and screaming, and slams into my bed. And I'm on the 5th floor balcony with my door locked, and I just, like freaking out, screaming. I'm like, because I'm like, I'm dead. I'm gonna die in Germany by some maniac. and it was Kane. He came out on his balcony in the morning, saw that my door was open. So, like a normal person, he just said, "You know what? I'm going to jump that 6-foot gap that's 50 feet in the air to scare Mike." You know, so he jumped, and there's no cameras, there's no one around to see it. It's just, that's what he likes to do. And so that, that's like a normal day with Kane, is waking up in the morning, you're laying in bed naked, and him jumping through the window. So that's like the normal with him. Yeah. Yep.
Oh man. I also have another question for you. Do you have a favorite cryptid that you would love to maybe write about one of these days?
I mean, I'm not I love monsters, but I'm not. Most of my stuff are humans, and I write about humans more because humans scare me more than monsters do. Because in my brain, like going back to the can't watch MMA stuff, so I love reading serial killer things, like real true life serial killer things. And when I read it, and I just go, how could you do that? Like there was the one guy who kept a torso under his bed and took it out every night, cut a fresh hole to do things with it. And
listen, everybody.
Well, yes, no, but so like that to me is more terrifying than any drippy, drooly monster could ever be. Is just knowing that there's a human, that you're in the grocery store going, okay, excuse me, could you reach that mayonnaise for me? Sure, buddy. Knowing you're next to that is more scary than monsters. I do write some monster stuff, but I don't know. There's no monster that I'm like, I really need to write. Like some sort of monster-y type story. I'm sure eventually I will. I think the closest I've ever written, I wrote like a short werewolf story, which was very not werewolfy. Yeah.
That was no. I don't think I have it. I need to read that now because that's my favorite cryptid, werewolves.
Yeah, I think it's in Tales from Mortician. Yeah, it's which actually I could see turning it into a movie. Well, of course I can see turning any of my stories into a movie. But I was telling my son about that story the other day because he was asking about werewolves, and I said, well, actually I wrote one about a werewolf, and it's it's the idea is that this this guy who's rich because he's a werewolf, he has a giant safe that has an auto lock, and so every full moon he goes and gets into the safe and locks himself in so he doesn't hurt anybody until the full moon, and it opens up. And then one night where he's going into it, a person runs in, and his butler runs in and locks himself in with him. And so it's a story about like what happens there and stuff. So
oh wow,
so I like the idea of that. Yeah.
And that was a good story. I love that one.
There you go.
Have you played any like horror type games, whether it's like board games or like video games or anything?
I haven't played video games in 30 years until last year with my kids, and now I play Fortnite every single night because my kids played it, and now I'm like, I love it. But I tried to play the Friday the 13th game because Kane did it, obviously, and so I was so excited, and I got it, and I'm an old man. I can't figure out how to play it for the life of me. It's so complicated for me, and I know everyone else is just playing it. I tried so hard to play it, and then I couldn't figure out how to make an account because it said I had to play it online, and I couldn't figure out how to make an account, which makes me sound like the an old technology person going, "What do you mean the on button?" but I couldn't figure out. So that's the closest I've got to playing a horror game. I do have over my shelves though. I have Horror Trivial Pursuit. I have like 3 other ones, but I don't have friends to play them with. So, or at least friends that would even be close to playing. I know. I need people to actually play a game with. So I could probably talk someone into playing it, and then they'd be like, "Dude, I haven't answered one question. Could you stop?" And I'd be like, "Sorry."
I have the same game, and I have the same problem in my house. Nobody wants to play with me because they all.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, "No, I'll play." Yeah. But I have to say, because Kane's doing the Leatherface video game right now.
I
He's
know.
been working on it for almost 2 years. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for that game. Oh. Oh my gosh, Leatherface. What did you think? Have you seen the new Leatherface movie that just came out?
I did. Now, I have a very opposite opinion of most people when it comes to horror. I get very frustrated with everyone just likes to hate on everything so much. And as a horror fan myself, I'm just like, who cares? It's freaking horror. Go back and watch any of the ones in the 80s. They're not masterpieces. None of them are. They're cheesy crap. And so the new one, I didn't understand the story pretty much at all. And I didn't like his mask. I thought his mask looked too... I get it was fresh.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the way he looked. But the kills in it were freaking awesome. Like, snapping a dude's arm and then stabbing him in the neck. I mean, that was freaking awesome. Like, I loved all of it. Like I think it was really fun. I just didn't like the idea of the story of he lived in a halfway home for kids or something for 40 years. Like that was kind of weird. But like, I read the huge article on Fangoria where it went off about like, well, people are throwing a fit that a chainsaw would work after 40 years inside of a wall. And it's like, have you watched a horror movie? Like, you're really going to sit there and go, why would the chainsaw work? Like, stop. Just enjoy it. People get killed. It's fun,
Yeah, maybe he knows how to store it.
For real.
But, yeah, that was fun.
The most realistic part of that whole movie was the live stream. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't look real. The thing in the comments.
Yeah, the bus is my favorite part of that movie.
Yep. I mean, to me, if there's a difference between having like high-end horror, like Midsummer or Midsommar, however do you say that, and someone just killing a bunch of people, So.
Yeah. I agree. What is your favorite
horror movie?
Yes.
It's hard because growing up it was Friday 13th Part 7, basically all the Kane ones, because when I was a kid, I don't know how old you are, but they were on USA every Friday 13th. They played the marathon, but for some reason they didn't have the rights to the earlier ones. They only played part
those
6,
ones,
7, 8, and 9 in a row. They kept repleting them. And so those were like what I kind of really started to get into and watch. So like growing up, it was like the Friday 13th movies. As an adult, when I just said Midsummer, I hate it because I've heard people say Midsommar. I think it's Ari Aster. His first movie, Hereditary, is like my favorite modern horror movie. I think it was one of the few movies that actually made me kind of like creeped out and stuff and like uncomfortable. So I think that's kind of my modern. And then like the Friday 13th, are my favorite old ones, but very few that I don't like.
Nice.
Yep.
It's so funny, like you said about USA playing Friday 13th and stuff. I've had conversations with Ethan. They just don't know. These kids these days don't know what they're missing.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because
all that stuff we had.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife the other day about how it's going to be interesting to see like what my kids fall in love with, because we didn't fall in love with stuff just because something was awesome. We fell in love because it was on USA 100 times or it was on HBO over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's all we had for options was you'd put it on and you'd be like, oh, this is on again. The Night of the Creeps is on for the 18th time. I'm going to watch it, And so we grew up with that. They don't do that nowadays. Nowadays, it's literally you pick what you want to watch and you watch it when you want to watch it. So they're not going to have that repetitiveness that we grew up watching the same movies over and over again. So it's going to be interesting to see which movies they actually attach to, because it'll be literally judging each movie for what they are, rather than because you watched it 483 times growing up. Yeah. So it'll be interesting how it changes.
Yeah, I just feel bad for these kids because they're not going to have any hosts for the movies. Like we had TNT Monster Vision, Elvira, Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, Up All Night. Yep. That was literally my weekend for my entire growing up teen years was Up All Night and Joe Bob, watching Joe Bob Briggs, and then Up All Night either was Gilbert Godfrey or Rhonda. What was her name? Rhonda something?
Yeah.
Something like that. And so, I mean, every Friday, Saturday night, that's all I did was stay up until like 2 in the morning, and I'd always be trying to like fall asleep. Like, no, I gotta watch a little more, watching them, and I loved that crap. Like Joe Bob Briggs, I mean, is probably like, he's like a god to me because that kind of, he was my education in horror growing up because he literally explained stuff to me. There was no internet, so he told me about the history of the horror movie. He told me what was in the movie. He told me about these people. Every single week. I love that he's back now. I mean, it's amazing.
Oh yeah. That was kind of my same introduction to same thing, getting the history behind the movies, the actors.
Yep. We didn't have that newfangled technology you kids have.
Like fancy pants stuff.
Back then, we didn't know something back then. We didn't know it. Hold on, I'll find it now.
I feel like I'm getting a lecture right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, whippersnappers. Man, I feel old already.
Is there anything that you're working on currently that you'd like to share with anybody?
I do got my new horror collection. I believe it's going to be called Do Not Open. I think that's going to be the title. Maybe it should be out in October. It'll be a collection of, I think, 15 horror short stories. But I'm working on my first massive book right now. I actually have I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it. Just paused. Let's put it this way. I have a really big book deal for a celebrity with a big company. And so it's my first big book with a big company. And so I'm working on that literally nonstop right now because I actually have like solid deadlines and stuff. And so when I finish this, I'll be writing until midnight and, working on that every single day. So that's really, really exciting for me, really big and stuff. So that's what I'm working on now. That's all my focus. Thank you. Yeah, so that's my focus for the next month or so until I finish the first draft, and then depending on what rewrites they do. But then after that, I'm going to try to go back to my novels and try to pull out one of the novels and get that going.
So for like deadlines and stuff like that, does it is it by like certain chapters that you have to get through? Like,
excuse me. So it's supposed to submit the first draft of the entire book.
Okay.
Which is it's a different experience for me because for years I've owned the publishing company. I've owned Dark Ink for 12 years. We have 100 books out. We have we've done all kinds of crazy awesome stuff. But being the owner, I can do what I want, time-wise, timeline. So this is my first, I've had other jobs where I was hired, but this is my first big one where, okay, you have a 93-page contract, and, this is due on this date. If you don't have it by this date, you have to, submit in writing a request for this to be, to be extended, this and that. And so it's kind of a different experience. But we're supposed to submit the whole first draft, and then they send us back notes, and then, we have to finish the final draft kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I've never really thought about what it takes to go into writing and publishing and then getting it out there and everything. There's a lot, isn't there?
It's funny because there's times once in a while where it's not often, but every once in a while someone pick up a book like it's $20, and I go, that was 4 years of my life. People don't realize. I worked on that for years. $20 is a bargain, So there's immense amount of time that goes into it, especially if it's a biography. I mean, it's research, drafts, finding pictures, getting pictures, and then editing, and then you have layout for the book, having the book laid out, putting the pictures in it, and then if it's like a book like Savini's, there's design elements into it, picking release dates, figuring out marketing plans. I mean, it's a long process. Even when you finish the book usually a lot of times won't come out for almost a year, just like a movie. The movie's done, but then they have to figure out what season is it going to be released in, what are we going to do for marketing plans. it's a whole undertaking.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Oh, no.
So next time you want to buy a book for $20 and you think twice, go, gee, that took that guy 2 years.
That reminds me of a story. When my wife and I first went and met Kane, it was at Crypticon in Seattle. And we're standing in line, waiting to get up to him, and his biography's on his table and stuff. And my wife gets on Amazon, and she's instantly just like looking on Amazon to buy it there to
like,
see
I
if she can get it.
$5. Yeah.
Yeah. And so while she's on her phone, Kane turns and looks at her and yells at her for playing Candy Crush. And she looks at me and she goes, "You're really gonna let him yell at me?" I was like, "Yes."
You do what he wants.
I was like, "Do you want me to tell him the truth that you're trying to find it cheaper?" Like,
I mean, I get it. I'll buy cheaper books and stuff too, but yeah, especially when you're meeting somebody, though, it's like you don't get to meet the author a lot usually to have it signed and so
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why when I saw that you were going to be in Salem this last October, we just happened to be going to Salem that same day.
That is kind of crazy, yeah.
Like, we got to stop by and say hi.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. Yeah, it's funny because that wasn't far from where you live at all.
Just around the corner.
Don't walk over there. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's barbecue, whatever.
Are you gonna be coming up to any conventions with like what's the plans for this year coming up?
So obviously after the last 2 years, we're finally getting back out this year. So I just did 3 of them in 2 weeks. I'm doing Bangor Comic-Con in Bangor, Maine, which I'm excited about because Maine's one of the few states I haven't done a signing in, so that's kind of cool. And it's supposedly it's right near Stephen King's house. We get to go, walk by and be like, get all excited. And so I got Bangor Comic-Con. I have a local writing event in May in Massachusetts. It's like a book fair festival thing. And then I have a couple more at later in the year, but not 100% confirmed yet. But yeah, so I'm slowly getting back out there doing the conventions.
Yeah, especially with everything with like COVID and stuff like that dying down. It seems like hopefully.
Yeah. I didn't do anything for a long time, so it's fun getting back out. It's exciting. Because I miss it, because I love doing the conventions. Hopefully, I'll get to your side of the country, because I never do that far. Because with books, it's really hard with books to ship out. I got to ship 12 boxes to that convention, and hopefully they get there. At least when they're drivable, I can just load up and go on where they are.
It'd be cool to see you in Crypticon Seattle.
Yeah, I did Crypticon once, but it was, I'll say Kansas. He used to do it.
Over in Kansas?
Crypticon,
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah,
I did it. I did it once. Isn't he the owner, the guy that wears like the kilt?
I don't think I've ever met the owner of the guy.
Oh, I don't know. I know I did a Crypticon, unless it was a different Crypticon, but it was in the Midwest somewhere. It was like St. Louis or something. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully I can get out there eventually.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do you like to dress up for conventions?
No.
No?
No. I dress up as myself. I have this thing where I don't wear costumes because most people don't know. Eventually, I'm gonna start telling that story. But for 10 years, I worked for Marvel Comics, and leave me alone. I was much skinnier. But for 10 years, I was the official Spider-Man for Marvel Comics, to where I did appearances all over the world. I went to over a dozen countries for them. I did TV commercials. I was on like MTV. I was on CNN. I was on, you name it, I did it. I threw out pitches at baseball games, dropped pucks at hockey games, did all kinds of stuff, literally every single weekend for 10 years as Spider-Man. And so I got paid to dress up in costumes for a decade. And when I retired, I'm like, I'm not putting a costume on again. So for my kids, once in a while, I'll put a little something on. But yeah, I just don't dress up anymore for things. Yeah. But I do love seeing the costumes at conventions, and sometimes the amount of work, and I look at them and go, "Good God, you have to be hot." You know, like and sweaty,
Right?
you know. Yeah. But you look cool, you know.
Like the what was it? A couple years ago, I saw one that was a predator, and it was oh my god, it looked so enclosed. There was no opening nowhere.
Yeah.
Dude had gloves on and everything. I was like, it's like 80 degrees outside. How are you not dying?
Pouring. I also did before I got Spider-Man. I was Batman. In a big Batman stunt show, and I had the Val Kilmer suit from the third movie, and it was solid rubber with nothing showing except for my mouth and my eyes, and I'd be doing a stunt show, running, fighting, climbing. We had real explosions with real fire everywhere, and we'd be doing it all summer long. And I would at the end of the show, we'd bow, and when I lean forward, the sweat would just go like a faucet just pouring out of the mask, and then I'd come back up and it'd all just be dripping down this suit and stuff. And I remember doing a meet and greet once, and a little kid goes, "Why is Batman raining?" Because I was dripping so much. Why is he raining? Yeah. Yep. So I'm like, nah, I'm good dressing up and sweating. I did that for a long time.
I can understand why.
Yeah. Eventually, I'm writing a book called My Life in Spandex, and it's going to be about my 10 years as a superhero.
Ooh.
Lots of stories there.
That'd be awesome.
That would be really, really cool.
Yeah, it was a very interesting life. The fun part would be when I would meet somebody and they'd be like, "Oh, so what do you do for a living?" And I go, "Superhero." And then they go, "Oh, this guy's crazy," you know. But I'm like, "No, really, I am."
I think it's really cool how some of the like superhero wise and horror kind of like connecting in certain movies like that. Oh god, I can't think of the name of the movie right now.
Brightburn.
Brightburn was evil Superman.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah,
that was a good one.
It was fun.
I think there's.
And then I have like the Boys, which is much like a realistic gory version. Superheroes just killing people. Yeah.
I'm excited for season 3 on that one.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, actually, I can't turn my computer because it's a huge computer. I actually have my old Spider-Man suit framed over there, and my Captain America shield over there and stuff from all my years. I got a picture of me at the Senate because I performed at the Senate twice. I opened and closed the stock market, threw out pitches at baseball games, did all kinds of cool stuff. So, yeah.
Wow.
That is really cool. You're gonna have to send us a picture.
Yes, interesting life. Interesting life.
Do you like haunted houses?
Yes and no. I adore them because I love horror, but I'm a massive wuss, so they scare the crap out of me. In the Killer and I 2, Killer and I on the Road to Hell, which came out last year, there's a whole bunch of chapters about me going through haunted houses, because I'm always scared of them, and then Kane made me go through a bunch of them. Now I can do them pretty good, but a while back I had a very hard time going through them. I remember I was sore the day after I went through one because I was clenching so much, like hunching over and clenching, that my back was actually sore, and so I love them now, and I was super lucky to get to go because Kane and I did a book tour at haunted houses, and so I got to do everything from haunted houses in Massachusetts to Colorado to Texas to Detroit. So I got to see like all the best haunted houses in the country, which was amazing. So now I love them.
Nice. You think you ever
greatest
read
one, to give him a plug, the greatest one is Erebus in Detroit. He used to hold the Guinness World Record for the largest haunted house in the world. It's 5 stories long. It takes 45 minutes to walk through it. They bury you alive. You have to crawl through tunnels. Things actually touch you. It was freaking awesome. Yeah.
Sounds like one I need to go to.
Yeah, it was amazing. I've been there a long time, but it was freaking awesome.
that was actually part of the reason why we were over in your neck of the woods last October. Is we were doing a haunted house tour. We went to like Haunted Overload. Oh boy, I can't remember all the names. We belonged to a big haunted house group called the Northwest Haunters Association.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
We actually have a non-profit haunted house.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
That's fun. Well, there you go. We'll get Kane out there. There you go. Do a sign. We'll both come out there. There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Who's
Have you
coming
done
in?
any short stories based off of haunted houses?
Actually, yes, I do. I don't know what book it's in. It's either it's in Tales. This is what happens. Like, I always find it funny because like someone will say to me like, "Oh, well, when you wrote this and this," and I go, "Oh, don't remember that." Yeah, because a lot of times someone who reads something they'll read it a bunch of times, and I've written 130 short stories out of I have 3 short story collections, plus 2 more coming out. So I've written so many short stories, I don't remember what's in what. But anyways, point being, I wrote a short story called "The Winning Prop," which is I love that story, and it's either in Skeletons or in Tales, and it's about a haunted house competition for making your house into like a haunted house in a small town. And so it's not a huge haunted house, but it's a story about a haunted house, which I love.
That's awesome.
There you go. And it's actually the collection I have coming out next year is called the Halloween Tales, and it's 15 interconnecting stories about Halloween, and that one's going to be one of them. And then, even though that story's been out before, you'll see what happened before it, and then what happens after that story. So it kind of all goes through it now in a long story.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
It's kind of important one. I don't think people get asked it often enough. What's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, my favorite dinosaur. Well, the funny thing is, I was actually talking about dinosaurs earlier today, because I teach a filmmaking class, and I was talking to my students about Jurassic Park, and we're talking about how dinosaurs technically probably had feathers. Most dinosaurs would have had feathers because, they probably wouldn't have had scales and been green because they were mostly ancestors of birds, blah, blah, blah. My favorite dinosaur? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I'll say a Triceratops because they're cool looking with horns.
Nice.
I'll have to do more research in case I get asked that again.
Well, you get asked it when you're a kid, but when you grow up, it's like nobody even cares anymore.
It's true. That's true.
So,
it's the tough questions you got to think about. That's what they should be having. Like when they have debates or like political campaigns, it should be like nothing about politics, and it should be like favorite dinosaur, favorite color.
Yeah.
Do you dip an Oreo or do you not? Like those would be good questions.
You'll hold it under the milk till the bubbles stop.
I do because I like to pretend the Oreo's dying, suffocating the
I have
Oreo.
I got the little hook that you put the Oreo on the hook so you can dunk it without getting your fingers.
So it's like a noose.
Yeah, kind of.
An Oreo noose.
It looks like a sickle. It's like a sickle.
Sickle.
Stick it on it. Yeah, dunk it. I love that thing.
Stab your Oreo.
Tell me where the cream is. Dip.
Exactly. Yeah,
I got one last question for you.
Sure.
If you, out of like any actor or just anybody that you know of in your personal life, is there anybody that you would are dying to write a book about?
So I have like a in my brain I have like a Mount Rushmore of people who I love kind of thing, that would be on my Mount Rushmore of favorite celebrities.
Yeah.
Half of them already have biographies, so that sucks. But I'm obsessed with a band called Blue October. which most people don't know about them. They had like a couple hits in the early 2000s. But I'm obsessed with their music, and Justin Furstenfeld, the singer, has such a crazy, awesome story, and his music is like the only music like I connect to. And his biography would be like the one that I would be like freak out to write, which is funny because it's like it's not some huge celebrity like The Rock or something like that. It's the person I admire the most. I would want to write a biography for.
No, I respect that. I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's other celebrities. I kind of want to get away from biographies soon, only because they take up so much time. I love them, but like, I really want to focus on my fiction for a while and kind of get out, get those novels out that have been sitting there for so long and stuff. But I know I say this, and then I know I'll sign on for another biography like 3 months from now. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that one, and sign on for it. But yeah, we'll see.
That is, oh man, I just gotta one more thing. Is there anything that you want to tell any of like young writers that are out there that give them some advice or anything like that to help them further along?
I mean, the writing advice for people who want to write that I always say, which so many writers say, is you have to read a lot. I know a lot of writers, or a lot of people who want to be writers, don't read, which is like being seriously, there's a lot of people who they want to do this, but they don't do it. And it's like, and I need to read. So reading constantly, and then writing every single day, whether it's crap or not, just writing, whether anyone reads it or not, just getting stories out and writing a lot. And then not listening to people. Sounds weird, but I know so many, because I used to teach like a bunch of adult writing classes. The biggest thing I would see people do is worry about what people would think, either whether they're going to critique the story or they're worried that someone's going to read it and think that character is that they're writing about them, because people do that. When you know people and they read your writing at first, they'll be like, that was Aunt Biv, isn't it? I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with that. So it is a legitimate worry. And then we worry that the stories aren't good enough and things like that. So the biggest thing is just write and not worry about it. Just write. And then, then get into it. And, when you're finally ready to put something out, you'll have a whole bunch of stuff written and, so read, write, and not worry. Oh, I should make a shirt of that. Read, write, not worry.
That is it.
That's a slogan.
That's a good one right there. Well, oh, sorry, Uncle. I didn't mean to. Were you?
No, you looked like you were gonna say something, so I was just waiting.
I was waiting for you too. Well, we're so out of sync sometimes.
Really? I just realized you have a Garbage Pail shirt on.
Yeah.
Nice.
The creature from the Black Lagoon.
My little Funko there, the little Garbage Pail guy. Right there.
Ooh.
And then the rest of my room is filled with Mad Balls. I have a huge Mad Ball collection.
Oh, yeah.
All of those.
Those things are awesome. I'm glad that they brought it back out.
Yeah, I have the whole collection on display over there. I'm a nerd.
Yeah, we are. I mean, you can't see it, but we got all kinds of stuff up on the shelves.
Yeah.
Take them out over into the pool room and then just show them the walls.
Yeah. So,
my wife lets me have my office, and then I'm like, honey, you sure can't have more rooms? She's like, no. And then I go to like Savini's house, and I'm just like texting her pictures, going, you sure I can't have it like every inch of everything. Yeah, exactly. There's. If I could, I would probably every room would be monsters and decorations and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I just randomly start adding something horror elsewhere in the house, and then when the wife asks about it, I'm like, that's always been there.
Yeah, of course. You don't remember that?
What are you talking about? You said I could put it there like years ago. No, I'm actually pretty fortunate. She loves horror just as much as I do. So.
Yeah, you're lucky because my wife lets me do all this stuff. But she won't even watch a horror movie. She can't do it. She won't watch anything horror with me. There's been times where we've been on a movie set together, and she still won't watch the movie. I'm like, you were there on the movie set. You can't watch it. Yeah.
That's one of our
I know
go-tos.
you got Rebecca's book there, which is awesome. Rebecca Rowland, that's my co-author there. Yep.
Yeah. I remember meeting her there at Salem. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but
yep.
I think my wife's read it.
She's an amazing writer. Yeah, she's a great writer.
Well, if she works with you, she's got to be. So, love your books.
Exactly. She actually with pieces there. She pushed me to be a better writer, which was fun for me because it was like, she's a much better technical writer than me, like just prose wise, and so I really had to step up, writing wise. I had to really step up to like match her and stuff. So it kind of pushes me to be a better writer, which is really cool.
It's awesome.
It's always good to have somebody there to push you through what you're trying to accomplish.
Exactly. Yeah, anyone who's going to make you better, not make you worse, is a good thing. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I don't think I got anything else.
Cool.
For you. We really appreciate you coming on and talking with us.
Of course.
Hanging out.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Anytime.
Definitely appreciate it and hope we could stay in touch when the next book comes out.
I'm here anytime.
Heck yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. You have yourself a good night. We'll let you get back to all your other busy work you got going on there.
I'll be writing now for the next 3 hours. So. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
Right,
Bye.
You too.
Bye. Daisy.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that was awesome. That was an amazing interview.
Yeah.
I know I really threw him off with the dinosaur.
Yeah, I know. I think he enjoyed
his
it.
look. He was like, "Oh, what the? Wait a second. Nobody's ever asked me that."
Triceratops. Well, next time he comes out, maybe I'll change his dinosaur answer.
If he comes to like Crypticon and he does a panel, I'm gonna walk up and like ask that during the panel. What's your favorite dinosaur?
It's the first question. Dinosaurs, what matters? It's all that really goes for. Oh man.
Oh man.
Well, I think we're good here.
This was an awesome thing, and since we didn't really go over it a whole lot, and people really can't see it too much, I'm gonna go ahead and show some of his books that I have sitting here. Starting with Tales of a Mortician. This is a collection of short stories. The werewolf story that he was talking about earlier is in this book.
I might borrow that.
Really good book. A lot of short stories. I loved it. This one here they did with Rebecca Rowland. They was talking about Pieces. It's about 30 boxes, 30 body parts. 18 of them that turned into authorities. Just trying to find a serial killer. I haven't read that one, but I heard it's good. This one here called The Viewmaster they also did with Rebecca Rowland. I haven't read this one either. I'm a little behind on my reading. This one is just Rebecca Rowland, but it's called Totally Tubular Terrors, and it takes place all in like the 80s. It's a collection of short stories from a bunch of different authors, and all their stories take place in the 80s. This one here, The Horrors Hiding in Plain Sight. done by Rebecca Rowland as well. I don't know if they can see that too well. Of course, Kane Hodder's biography. This is the anniversary edition of Kill. The anniversary edition of Unmasked. But this edition has stories that weren't in the other book. It also has some fan tattoos on here.
Is that one I recognize down in the bottom in the middle?
There might be one there that you recognize, yeah. Fan pics with Kane. Really good book. I don't know how many of these they have. For instance, this is book number 25 out of however many they made of them. And also, you see sitting on my table, very special edition, limited Kane Hodder Funko Pop.
Oh yeah, that is pretty cool.
And there's the certificate of authenticity.
Oh shit.
And on the back, can't see it because it's dark and the camera's not showing it up, but right here it shows how many of them were made, 75, and I have number 120 out of 175.
Oh shit. So definitely not that many out there.
No, it was a very limited thing, special edition type deal. And then of course, we got like, I know this is your mask, mine's hanging up elsewhere, but
yeah, you can take it off if you want.
I ordered one from author Mike's website that Kane Hodder had signed, and as well as a machete at one point in time.
I believe that mask is where that actually came from.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Well, I know it's Kane Hodder signed 789 and X, which Jason's who played. But I wasn't sure where they got that one at. So yeah, these are just some of his stories. He's also done another one called 50 Handfuls and White Ash. Both are really good from what I've read about them. I think I read a little bit about 50 Handfuls, but I haven't read the whole book yet. And then, of course, my all-time favorite that he did, Mr. Bluestick.
Yeah, Mr. Bluestick is. You were telling me about that. That one.
That's my favorite.
That one seems like something I would like to read.
Really good, and it's funny because I was going to ask him about possibly turn if he was going to turn it into a movie or anything, and he actually answered that when I brought up Mr. Bluestick without me even asking that. So,
fuck, he's a mind reader, dude. You didn't even have to say anything. He was like, psh, I already know what you're thinking. Like, right? I know, huh? That was pretty cool.
That was awesome. But this is our season finale.
Woo!
It was a good one. I know. We did 18 episodes this time.
I wish I had like one of those little blowers, just like
some streamers.
Yeah.
Little balloons falling from the ceiling.
I got you.
Oh, yeah. There's the balloons. They already fell from the ceiling earlier, prematurely.
Yeah. Oopsies. Yeah, definitely. Everybody on that's listening and watching right now, definitely go check out his books that he's done. And yeah. And we'll put up a little link in like his
description
website
of the video and stuff. Yeah, and put that up there.
Yeah, go buy his books. Go
his books. I mean, yeah, like oh, here it is. I had it way over here. I don't know why it was on the table, but The Killer and I, which is the journal about the making of Kane Hodder's biography, Unmasked,
Oh wow.
as well. And so it's the stories about them doing their stuff, like he was talking about that story in Germany, and there's so many others. And there's even the DVD documentary. It's like a bunch of short little episodes of, I want to say they're like 15 minutes long, something like that. But super nice guy. Anybody watching, listening, if you get a chance to like meet him at a convention, do it. Like, he's phenomenal to just sit there, walk up, talk to, as well as anybody else at the conventions. But I mean,
And the one question you can't ask him is what his favorite dinosaur is. We've already called dibs on that.
Yep, that's our question.
Yep.
It's going to be our new interview question that we're going to ask every time now.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Just to see his reaction, especially when I was like, it's probably the most important question you're ever going to get asked.
Yeah, no, he was like already too. He was
like, oh, okay, what's this going to be? Probably one I've heard before. Then I come out with that, and he's like, what?
Yeah, for real.
Threw him off. That was awesome.
Oh man, well, I just want to personally thank everybody that has given us the support throughout the season, especially since we took that bit of a break and then we got back in, we dived in. I want to thank everybody for the support and love that you guys have brought into the podcast and to all the episodes, and everybody that has just been there and listening. We all know who you are. We all love you.
Yeah, we're stalking you.
I see you.
No, not yet. Definitely, we appreciate everybody who has supported and helped throughout this whole process. People have given us ideas for episodes, and then bringing on our new guy, which I wish he could be here. I really do. He's sorry that he missed out. He really wanted to be here, but his other job, besides the podcast, changed his work schedule at the last minute, didn't let him know. And so he's actually working graveyard shift tonight.
Oh.
So he's unable to be here with us. He sends his best, and he wishes he was here. And we wish he was here as well.
Well, the next time that we get to we get to do an interview or anything like that, we're going to have him there. We're gonna plan it out to where
he has to be here. That was the original plan, and he even said, he goes, next time I won't miss it. He goes, I will just be like, no, I have to have this day off. And that's that.
Yeah.
Or hopefully by then, maybe he'll have a daytime job and like me, where he's able to get off in time to come do it.
Yeah.
Or who knows, maybe next time it'll be somebody that's actually on our side of the country, and we could actually do it at a later time.
For real. But hey, I mean, sometimes it's the sacrifices we gotta take to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it was totally worth it. I mean,
it was.
First season finale was David Howard Thornton. Second season finale was Mr. Author Mike, which, oh my God, thank you again, dude.
Thank you so much, Author Mike. We are so appreciative that you even just said yes to come on to the show. And then you showed up.
But hell, who knows what's gonna happen in season 3? We might actually just fucking kidnap a cryptid or some shit and just put it up there. Damn it!
You just don't know. I mean, we might even do a live show.
That is true.
Finale.
That would be pretty badass, honestly. There are gonna be a little bit of changes coming up, but within the next season, you guys will see some changes to the show. So
definitely. And we have definitely been excited and happy with the addition of our techie tech guy.
Oh yeah, which maybe we can draw him in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna draw a little stick figure of him right here.
Techie tech guy. Get you one of those. Oh, that's what we need to do.
Here he is.
Oh,
Techie
there he is. He's a little pale from being in the wall for so long.
Yeah, not enough chicken nuggets.
We're just gonna get a body pillow with his face on it.
like what is that? Plank?
Yeah.
Is that Ed and Eddie? I think it is.
Yeah,
the old
Plank. Plank.
God, I'd never even seen that show. I'm surprised I knew that.
I'm surprised you got that reference. I was like, what? Bringing up a Plank reference. Oh man. Well, guys. I think this is where we're just gonna have to end it off for tonight.
This is where we're gonna have to stop. We got plenty of other things going on. Cryptids to go kidnap, and
I got my net.
Sweet. I got the snacks that are gonna attract them.
You're not cutting pieces off of me, are you? And then like just fucking and just fucking.
No. That's the we're cutting pieces off of the individual that was the surprise person that's coming along with us.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry, they're not part of the podcast or anything, so we're not going to lose anything.
Well, we'll just have to see how this goes. We're going to
gain a Harry and the Hendersons situation.
Yeah, I would. Oh boy, that wouldn't go well. I mean, especially if the Russian government got a hold of him.
Right?
Best goddamn joke in the. Oh no, that was a Yeti. Sorry. Oops.
Close enough.
Yeah, they're cousins.
The best joke of the season, yes.
No, I think that was the fucking boxing match between what was it? The oh fuck, what was it? It was one of the cryptids that I did. It was one of the Japanese. What was it?
The bathroom lady.
Bathroom lady. Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but I can see it in my head. Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then the baby, the baby, blue baby. Just fucking. No. Uh-oh. Just fucking.
Whoopsie! You drop ya.
That's what we're going for.
Oh man!
All right, I think this is where we're gonna have to end it off, and we'll miss you guys until we come back.
Be back in a couple weeks.
Who knows? Maybe I'll just like pop my little head and just be like woohoo, and then just put it out. I don't know.
I see you.
And just fucking run away. Okay.
Poplick.
Popey Licky Monster.
Well, Poplick Monster. Yeah, somebody actually crocheted a little Poplick Monster.
I know. I've never seen one before.
I was just like, dang.
We're getting out there.
We are. Just like the other day, and you'll see this episode coming out next season. The Loveland Frog.
Yeah.
Ohio Loveland Frog. Cryptid Crate actually sent a patch of the Loveland Frog. It's so funny because I never heard of it before, just like the Poplick, until we did stories on him. Now, yeah, got a little patch for like a jacket or something of the Loveland Frog, and then got the little crocheted Poplick Monster. It's awesome.
It's just good. It's going good, dude, and it's just gonna keep on getting better and better and better. There's a few things that. What?
Oh, I was gonna ask him a question. I totally forgot now.
What were you gonna ask him?
I was gonna ask Author Mike if he would be okay with us telling one of his stories in one of our episodes. I was totally gonna ask him that. So what I will do is I will email him and see if he's okay with that. But it's got to be a short story, so it's got to be either like out of this book, which he did. Double check. But this book, where it's a short 25 pages, or a short story out of like Tales from the Mortician or something like that.
Okay. Okay, yeah, no, ask him about that, and then we can start reading, and they'll promote his book and make sure that we put all of his stuff in it, and then
definitely.
yeah, keep getting his name out there for people that haven't heard about his stuff. So
I mean, I never heard of him until Kane Hodder's biography, and then the journal book that he did, The Killer and I, and then I was like, huh. Then we started looking at some of the other stuff he's done, and we're like, so.
Yeah. But, okay, you're going to have to let me know on that.
Yeah, I'll know. I'll figure it out in the next couple days.
Sounds like a plan.
Get a hold of him on that one. So, but, alright, anyways. Been awesome. It's been a great season. I hope for many, many more. Thanks everybody for the support.
Thank you guys so much.
Can't say it enough. We wouldn't be continually doing this if it wasn't for all the support. And send us stories.
Send us stories.
Ideas. Send us names of cryptids. Send us a hometown ghost story that's unique to where you live.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Something like that. Send it to us either through Discord or through Facebook Messenger or YouTube. Just anywhere that you're listening, watching us. Submit. Give us ideas. We'd love to hear from you guys.
For sure. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Beat the shit out of that thing to stay tuned for episodes that are coming out. And go check out some of the older videos that we've done. And check out last interview that we did with David Howard Thornton. But, yeah, no, thank you guys so much for just, all the love and support that you guys bring to the podcast every time that we do an episode. It's just, we really want to keep kicking ass with you guys, and like T said, many more coming to a theater or a YouTube or a podcast near you.
A cell phone.
Yeah, or strippergram near you. I'm just gonna show up at people's door.
Oh God, no.
That's promotion. It's promotion. That's how it works.
I know they say that even bad publicity is good publicity, but no.
I'll be on the fucking news. Strange man knocking on people's homes.
Handing him a little business card and stripping.
Have you seen the podcast? Just. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Just fucking, just going. That's how you promote. That's good promotion right there.
No. That's how you end up in jail. And then somehow Techie Tech Guy and I are gonna have to come. We're gonna have to
quick, tell your horror stories in jail.
Yeah. You're gonna be on the other side of the glass. We're gonna be on this side. Well, we'll just have to have a camera on you and then hold our own camera on us. And
fucking.
All right. Coming to you live from the old penitentiary.
Fucking. What's your horror story this week? Oh, I got one. It's don't drop the soap. Yep, that's my first story in the penitentiary. It'll work.
Yeah, you can do a bunch of short stories called the penitentiary horrors.
Yeah, the horrors or horrors.
Same thing.
And then in jail, that's what happens. Anyway, guys, we'll see you later.
Bye. See you in a few weeks.
See you soon.
Bye, fuckers.